Escudero teeing it up. Collins and Williams back to receive. It'll go to Antoine Jetpack Collins, who takes it at the 12-yard line to the 15 to the 20. Collins runs outside the 25 to the 30, down the sideline 35-40. Antoine Collins 45-50, 45-40. Antoine Collins 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Davenport! Jetpack does it again on the first play of the second half, and the Panthers reclaim the lead.
And with that, we welcome you to the Davenport Coaches Show. A historic kick return for a touchdown by Antoine Jetpack Collins sparks Davenport to its 5th win in as many tries in road games, beating Roosevelt University 19-14. The only point scored in the second half on the opening kickoff of the second half. With that, we welcome you to Uccellos of Caledonia. I'm Rick Berkey, the head coach, Sparky McEwen here. We've got a lot of special guests for us with us tonight, including Scott Cook, the men's and women's cross-country coach from Davenport. He'll join us, a couple of players as well. Coach still enjoying the excitement of that hard-fought and well-earned win in Chicago over Roosevelt Saturday.
Seems like we're making your life fun and interesting.
You are.
You know, the calls are amazing. The players love the fact that you've given them great nicknames. Jetpack, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. But
first player, by the way, in Davenport history to return 2 kickoffs for a touchdown.
Wow, that's awesome. And they come at great times, you know, but what a game. You know, we talked about it last week, and I told you that, you know, just watching them play in previous games, and especially against the Cardinals, we knew that this was going to be a well-earned win if we were able to go down to Chicago and complete the task. And once again, you know, the guys showed up big and playing well in, you know, different phases of the game. You know, and that's the thing that makes me feel good about this football team.
As big as that play was to start the second half, the story from then on was absolutely your defense. You just suffocated the Roosevelt offense. You held them for a program record minus 21 yards rushing for the game, and in the second half, only 5 yards of total offense from the Lakers.
You know, it's amazing. This football team is absolutely, known now on the national stage, and it's so unfortunate that, you know, a group like that, you know, goes unnoticed. That's been a staple of who we are, you know, as a program from day one that I've, taken this job. And the job that, Coach McEwen and Coach Walker and Coach B and, you know, that group has been amazing for us. You know, they've done a solid job, and, you know, we had to hire a new D-line coach right before the season started, and after 8 weeks, you know, we got 6 wins, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have a very committed, stubborn defense, you know, and I'm very appreciative of those guys, and they've done a great job in this program, and they hold us together. They've come up big for us. You know, getting that safety was really important, you know, and then, you know, obviously you got to double up with special teams with Coach Walker. Our special teams are ranked in the country, and they're just, you know, those two coaches, you know, more importantly, are doing a tremendous job for our program.
And with the way that defense was playing, I thought it affected your offensive strategy in that second half. There were a couple times I recall on 4th down where I said, normally I think he'd go for this, but because the way your defense was playing, you went ahead and kicked it away.
You know me well. And, you know, for my entire career, you know, offense, you know, obviously I've come up in the ranks of having high-powered offenses, solid offenses, and just offenses that are just offenses that's going to feed off our defense. And our offense does a good job of that. And I think that, Coach Devin Russell does a good job as well, knowing that when we're playing really well on defense, we know we'll make smart play calls and to put us in better situations, and depending on our injury status is going to determine how we call ball games. And, you know, I just think that, you know, we got a really resilient group, you know, and I've always told people that, you know, everyone makes a big deal about playing close games, and my philosophy is it's simple. I'm a simple coach, and I think close teams win close games. When you go to the beach, when you fish, when you boat, you know, when you camp together, when you cook out together, when you bowl, you're in basketball leagues together, you know, and at the end of the day, your kids are a lot closer than most kids that you play against. But that's the culture that, you know, we bleed. That's what we've put together at Davenport, and that's what's allowed us to win a lot of games, you know, since we've been here.
Second straight week, great balance on offense. 169 on the passing yards and 156 on the ground. Paced again offensively by Myren Harris, who will join us later in the show. Second straight game for him over 100 yards. In fact, he's just under 300 yards the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Myron's doing a great job for us. Once again, here's a guy that every day comes to work. He works his tail off. He loves football. He's a football junkie, and he's one of those guys that he's been a very solid leader for us, and he's a very vocal young man. And right now, those kids they're all having fun. And playing 11 straight games is tough. And then to top it off, all the 7 games on the road, is extremely difficult as well. So I can't say enough about this football team. They're playing well, and we just got to continue to play well and just continue to get better on each side of the ball.
I thought one of the key parts of the game was when you had a chance to get a two-score advantage. You were down at the 12-yard line. Tip pass, interception by Roosevelt. They run it out. They end up starting by midfield. Your defense, sudden change, has to go out there, and they force a 3-and-out. In fact, they went backwards on those 3 plays and got the ball back on a punt.
And that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier. I think when you're close, none of these kids point the finger. The offense knows that the defense is going to get their back. The defense knows that the offense is going to get their back. There's times this year where we had to take the football and ground out, the clock. You've been a part of that as well, where all of a sudden we're on a 12-play drive and we take a knee, and none of these kids point the finger. And that's the thing I love about this group. They're close. They understand that, it's a team. It's a team effort. And we have some individuals that play big within that team, but at the end of the day, they know this is a special teams, an offense and a defensive effort in order for us to continue to win.
Well, one of those guys that stepped up, Armani Baskin, we're going to have him join us next. And he's a guy who was not a starter until a few weeks ago. And you got banged up on the line, and he's done a great job for you.
It's often that, individuals talk about the fact that we, are able to land some nice transfer portal student athletes. Here's one of the young men that, we've brought in. He's a high school student athlete that we brought in, outstanding grades, come from a great family background, and they've supported him tremendously here. And he's waited his turn. Now he's stepped up, and he's doing a heck of a job for us, and we're excited about the future for him.
Well, why don't we visit with Armani? We'll come back with Armani Baskin as we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. Stay with us. And we continue the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. Stop out here anytime. They have got 25 large screens. Maybe I'm underselling. Maybe there's more than that. It seems like that. But there's soccer, there's baseball, there's football, there's everything going on here. And they have fantastic food, and the servers are wonderful here. So stop out anytime at Uccellos in Caledonia on the Beltline, just north of 84th Street. Our next guest, Armani Baskin, a junior offensive lineman for your Davenport Panthers. Armani, we were talking a little bit with Sparky about it. You weren't a starter until a couple guys got banged up, and you stepped in and did your job. Tell us how you kept the mindset going, being ready to go, even though you didn't know if you're going to get a chance to get out there or not.
I mean, honestly, it just went down with the guys that surround me. My guy Slab, my guy Lofton, Sarge, and Trey. Those are some great veteran guys, and when I'm out there, they communicate with me, and that just helps me out there when I'm playing, keeps me confident.
Armani, you had a very fine high school career at Kennewill Hills here in the Grand Rapids area. Was there a particular coach, whether it be varsity, JV, freshman, whatever, that really helped you, get focused on becoming a better player and maybe even a better person?
Oh, yeah, my coach, Coach Cam, he was a very great offensive line coach for me. Just like Kennewood, I was switching all around, and he helped me, learn the tackle position when I came here. And my parents also, those are people that I consider my coaches, in high school. They kept me on my toes and made sure I was on point.
Well, you had some other opportunities to go, to college like that. What made you decide to stay home and play for Davenport?
Well, when I was younger, I already visited Davenport on like a little summer program, which was pretty nice. And of course, both my parents attended Davenport, so.
That helps.
Yeah, definitely. It just helped me, and they felt like this was the right spot, and I also felt like it was the right spot. And when I had my visit, the coaches were very welcoming, and I just loved it there.
Well, talk about perspective. Coach mentioned that you've got it great all in line there, and last year you didn't get on the field, but you were still all academic. So obviously academics mean a lot to you.
Oh, yeah, especially to my parents, They stay on top of me, make sure I'm doing pretty well in the classes. And, I also try to make it a point to get my work done and stay on top of it.
Armani, you're a business administration major. What are you thinking about doing that once you're done at Davenport?
I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I plan on doing. I love to create ideas and graphic designing, stuff like that. So maybe something dealing with marketing or just becoming an entrepreneur, finding some type of like field that I like within that.
Would you like your own business, or would you rather work for somebody else?
I would love my own business.
What do you do for your own pleasure time away from football, away from school? What do you do just to enjoy yourself?
Like I said earlier, I love graphic designing, coming up with my own ideas on things, and I kind of spend my time doing that, and of course just listening to music, clearing my mind up.
Tell us about your music preferences. Who do you listen to?
So my favorite artist is Rod Wave. I like his music, and of course, I'm very big on my faith, so I listen to gospel a lot. Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, all that good stuff. And yeah.
Tell us about who your roommates are and how you get along with them back at your place.
Yeah, so I got my boy Jerm. He plays on the D-line, number 52. It's pretty cool living with him. We have great talks about great meals, so it's pretty cool. And then my guy Stone, he plays wide receiver. He's a pretty cool guy. He doesn't really talk to us much, but when he does talk, it's very great and welcoming, and I just love that about him.
I have to ask, I do it every time. The answer is always the same. Who's the best video game player?
Oh, it's me, and Jerm knows that.
It doesn't ever change. We never get two roommates in the same time to debate this as well. All right, so now you've gotten some playing time. Tell us where you still have to get better as an offensive lineman, Armani.
I'd say for me, the big thing that Coach Russ hits on is, the second step. Make sure I'm getting my second step upfield, staying square, of course, and I try to make sure that I stay on top of that and listen to Coach Russ and whatever he has to, help me get better as an athlete.
It's Coach Devin Russell, your offensive line coach and your offensive coordinator. Armani, great job. You really stepped up the last couple weeks especially, so keep working hard, and we look for good things for you down the road.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk cross-country at Davenport. Scott Cook, the head men's and women's coach, will join us as we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show here from Uccello's in Caledonia. The Davenport Coaches Show continues from Uccello's in Caledonia. I'm Rick Berkey. Scott Cook is the men's and women's cross-country coach at Davenport. He's been their only coach since the program started. And let's kind of think back to that days when you were starting the program, Scott. What were the keys to getting going? Because you're trying to, recruit kids to a school, that they don't know about for the most part back then, right?
Yeah, I think the big thing was just trying to get the word out that we were starting a new athletic program, and there were a lot of opportunities for kids to come out and join, but we didn't have a track facility. We didn't have much as far as training equipment goes at that point, but we've slowly built it up.
That's one of the beauties of cross country, though, is right. You don't need a whole ton of equipment compared to other sports.
Correct. So
then you've got the program started on the men's. Was there one that was harder to get going, the men's or the women's, for whatever reason?
The women's, just because a lot of the majors, our curriculum is a little more male friendly than female friendly. But now that the nursing program is a lot larger, we have a lot more healthcare programs. The women are catching up.
You in 13-14, you made a big jump with Tori Brooks winning the indoor and outdoor national championships. That's in the track side of it, which you handle as well.
Yep.
Track and field. Tell me about the differences in your approach to coaching in the fall with cross country and the spring with track and field.
Well, in the fall, everyone's racing the same distance. So everyone's kind of getting coached the same. When we move to the track side, you have guys running 10,000 meters. You got guys running 800 meters. So you have to take a different approach with all those events because they're all a lot different, and the training's a lot different.
Do some of your cross-country runners in the fall compete in track but not distance? They run shorter distances?
No, they all
they're
do.
distance people.
Yeah.
They're built that way as well. Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. Overall, Seth, how you do? You've got regionals coming up in a couple weekends, right?
Correct.
Which everybody is going to. But how would you assess your play so far? I know you had a couple of successful meets earlier this season.
Yeah, the men's team has really come a long way. We have a great group of guys. We have 7 guys that on any given day can finish in any order, which is a good problem to have. They finished 4th in the conference this past weekend at the GLIAC Championships. That was the highest finish we've had since joining the GLIAC, so that was a real positive. And then we were ranked 10th in the Midwest region for the first time ever as a program.
You had 3 all-conference performers, 2 on the men's side, 1 on the women. Tell us about your all-conference runners.
So 2 all-conference runners on the guy side, a graduate student, Garrett Melling was 17th place. So super senior, put in a ton of work over the last 4 years, so it's exciting his last conference meet, he's all-conference. Second one, it was his second all-conference award, Jordan Dominy from right here in Caledonia, so he's just a sophomore. And then a tremendous effort from our senior, Ella Barrio, 6th place overall in a conference that's very, very good. So first team all-conference is quite a feat.
You live very close to the campus, don't you, in
Correct.
Alto? Yeah,
Yep.
So that certainly is a convenience. Tell us about your family life and how you balance the time away, because you have to be away a lot. You've got 2 different sports, different seasons that you coach, so your time away is even more than a lot of other coaches.
Well, we actually have 3 because we have a whole indoor season and an outdoor season.
You don't get a season off.
No. It's always a balance, right? And my kids are getting older, so they're involved in more things, but you do the best you can, and I have a lot of support from my wife, and she helps out where she can, and it's a team. Family's a team.
Yeah, that's great to hear that. Scott, whether it's either sport, but year after year, whether when you're NAIA or now Division II, your athletes have always been superior in the classroom. Tell us about how you stress that to your athletes.
Well, I think number one, you look. Every coach wants great students, right? You don't have to worry about them. It's in the recruiting process, right? Kids that do well in the classroom are going to probably make good decisions outside the classroom. And I think our sport lends itself to good students because there's a lot of self-dedication and self-motivation it takes to be a good student, but also a good athlete.
All right, finally, we got some maybe some potential cross-country runners out there in high school right now. They happen to be watching the show. Tell them why they want to come and run for the Panthers and compete for you.
Well, I think, we have this great mix of being out here in Caledonia and having but still having access to the second largest city in Michigan. We have a great group of kids that have formed a culture where they want to work really hard and do well, but also, at the Division II level, there's life in balance there, so they can, they can have a part-time job if they want. We don't own them. They can do stuff in the summertime, and we encourage them to live life and be social as well.
Scott, you've been the only coach we've had in cross country. We hope that for many, many years we get to see you competing and leading the student athletes at Davenport in those areas. Best of luck next weekend, 2 weekends from the regionals coming up and down the road.
All right, thank you very much.
Scott Cook, the men's and women's cross country coach. We'll take a timeout, come back and speak with Myren Harris, the outstanding running back for Davenport, as the Coach's Show continues from Uccello's in Caledonia. Continue to roll on the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. Back to the football side of it. Myren Harris, the redshirt senior, outstanding running back, one of the top running backs in the Midwest in Division II. And we've been playing so many highlights of marvelous Myron's scores. This is the one time we're not playing it, when we actually have him on here. Isn't that interesting? But Myron, it's been a fun couple years for you since you joined it, hasn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, being at Davenport has been nothing but a blessing. Being a part of this culture and and the coaching staff and the guys that they bring in, to help us achieve our goal, man, has been nothing but a blessing and a fun ride.
You had attended Wayne State before you came here and had much success there, but then you came right away and exploded. Last year, you set a single-season record at Davenport with 976 yards, just under 1,000. You were GLIAC Offensive Back of the Year, first team all-comp GLIAC with us last year. You had to be satisfied with that, but how did you approach this year after last year as far as individual goals, or didn't you have any really?
I mean, Spark, he does a good job at making sure that we all keep it about the team and just, make sure that our team goals are met. So when the team goals are met, that means, individual efforts are met as well after the team goals are met. So, I really had no expectation, going to the season other than to go and win 2 championships, which is the GLIAC National Championship.
Myron, you've got we've talked with Sparky a lot the last couple of weeks about how your offensive line seems to be gelling. Even though you've had a couple injuries, there's more continuity, more fluidness with the offensive line, and you directly benefit from that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, going into the offseason, Sparks, whole thing was, depth and older guys. And, we went to the portal and got some, guys, and guys like Armani has been stepping up. When you got vets on the line like Sam Lofton, Zach, Slapnigger, and then you got Trey Bryan and, Nevin Summerfield and Adam Sargent. All those guys are all old guys, and I've played the game. So having those guys on the O-line and, trying to do what we do, has been a blessing as well.
You're an outstanding student as well. You major in integrative professional studies. Now, I have to show my ignorance. Tell me what integrative professional studies is.
So pretty much it's like a degree where you can get a degree in like business, if I'm saying it right, but you can get a degree in like business, finance, marketing. It's like getting all those like in one. So like you get to pick like 3 main areas that you want to focus on, and so they call it like the integrated professional studies because it's you getting like a mixture of everything.
What do you hope to do with that when your Davenport days, and when your football days are run, whenever that is, what do you want to do with that degree?
I kind of been up in the air, with it. I kind of want to go into coaching, like whether it's high school or college.
That was my next question. You with high school or college, but either way?
Either or. I mean, I'll probably do, high school just for the developmental piece, and just to, get the knowledge that I learned over the years and, wish somebody would have told me back in high school. So.
Well, you came from the east side, Chippewa Valley High School in Clinton Township. Would you want to go back to the east side to coach, or do you want to stay here on the west side now that you're kind of acclimated here?
No, I want to go back to the east side for sure. I mean, there's nothing like, the east side football. So I like to say that the east side of the state football is a lot better than the west side. But, that could be a biased opinion, but I want to go back to the east side.
Big game for the Panthers this week at Saginaw Valley. I know you've just had a couple practices. What are the keys to Davenport beating a really good Saginaw Valley team?
Just keeping the game about us and, just making sure our team goals are met, like once again, week by week, like we're figuring out, who we are, and we have a pretty good grip of who we are. So, having that understanding has helped us tremendously.
How about Jetpack Collins? How about that? My goodness, isn't that special?
Oh, yeah, it's very special. I mean, as he was on a couple weeks ago, he talked about, Crash Out. So shout out to our gaming, crew, Crash Out. But Jetpack Collins, man, I mean, you see, once you put the ball in his hands, he just takes off. And if you're, not paying attention, like in the blink of an eye, like you'll miss it. So.
Well, he's certainly been special, and it's been special having you. We've been so lucky to have you here, and this young man's going to be success and wherever he goes, whatever he does. I can guarantee you that. Myren Harris, thanks for stopping by. Your food's just showed up, I think. You better get over there because Armani's kind of eyeing it in addition to his own, so you better get over there.
I know, but, Armani does the hard work and the nitty-gritty work for me, so if he wants to buy, he can have some.
All right, great to have it. Thanks, Myren.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with Sparky one more time to talk about this week's opponent, Saginaw Valley State, here on the Davenport Coaches Show at Uccellos in Caledonia. And our final segment here at the Davenport Coaches Show, when we look ahead to the next opponent. That's this Saturday afternoon in Saginaw against Saginaw Valley State. And all you have to do is glance at the standings and realize the implications of this big matchup between the Panthers and the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals. Ferris State in first place at 4-0, and then 3 teams just a game back: Davenport, Saginaw Valley, and Grand Valley, all 3-1. And Sparky, it's a big game, but as you've said many times, this is why you play, to get into these positions to play these games.
It's when we recruit, we're on the recruiting trail. We see a lot of the same players that land on these other rosters. And one of the things that we talk about is playing in big games. When you're playing against teams that's ranked number 1 in the country, that wins national championships, that win the GLIAC championships, those are the things that, student athletes want to hear. So coming here gives you that opportunity, and all of a sudden here we are. We get to play against one of the teams that's playing really well this year.
We talked with both you and Armani and Myren about your offensive line. Well, you got a real test today, because this is a team, Saginaw Valley, that's not only number 1 in the GLIAC in sacks, they're number 1 in Division II in sacks this year.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. They're extremely strong, and they have a great scheme. And, their last defensive coordinator, McEwen, went on to, take the same post at a Division I school. And they've replaced him with a gentleman that's doing a great job. And he comes from a very decorated program in Northwestern Missouri. And so Ryan's done a really good job of keeping that consistency of that scheme intact. And he was able to come into a situation with some talented players, a scheme that's already has an understanding of what needs to be done there, but he's actually played in it. I actually think I coached against him when I was at Ferris State. So he's done a great job there, and they're doing a great job, and the team's playing well together. And they lost a very tough game here a couple weeks ago against Grand Valley, and they easily could have won that game.
Local product, Mason McKenzie, a quarterback who made his first start in college against us at our place and played very well in that game. We beat them last year at our place in a terrific ball game, but he's playing well again. He completed like 75% of his passes last week for 165 yards.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback.
And on our side, you've got Michael Horo playing against the team with program he came from. Sometimes guys maybe, they try too hard when they're playing against their former team. Do you think about that at all?
Well, one of the things that you hope is that when these young people go against each other in these type of contests, and this is what the portal brings. It's no different than Kendall Williams and Myren and Sarjo going against Wayne State, this year. You want your guys to be professional enough to know that it's not about them, it's about the team. Obviously, these guys have all come from really great universities, and but you got to take advantage of the fact that you're with a new family member and you're doing big things together, and expectations are high here at Davenport. So we talk about when we go up against, teams that our players currently or previously have played for, we've got to keep it professional and keep it about our football team and the goals that we have at hand.
Is this a commute for you, or will you go and stay overnight in Saginaw?
No, because the problem is in football is that, when you're looking at a trip that's, 2.5 hours, now all of a sudden it's a 1 o'clock game. You got to get your kids up on the bus at 5 a.m. to go play a 1 o'clock game, and then you're going to have the logistics of eating breakfast. And typically in sports, you want to have your meal 4 hours prior, to kickoff. So it makes it really, really difficult in the game that we play. So we'll leave late Friday to get there so the young men are able to sleep in a little longer and get a good meal and keep things as normal as possible. Now, games like Ferris State and Grand Valley, obviously, you're able to commute over during the day because it doesn't get you off your clock, when it comes to the meals portions of it.
And finally, even though it's going to be a little bit cooler than we were used to, it looks like another beautiful weather. We just had an incredible string of gorgeous Saturday afternoons for football.
We have been blessed, with the type of weather that we've had here, but it's about time. I mean, because it seems like the last 6 seasons, man, the weather has just been so up and down. So this is going to be a chin strap game. This is what I call a chin strap game, and our football team understands what that means. Saginaw, they got a great history and culture, of black and blue, GLIAC football games. So we're excited about the opportunity, to be able to line up and go play, over at their beautiful facility. And it's just going to be another great GLIAC football game.
All right, well, you've been true road warriors, perfect 5-0 away from home so far this year. One more will make it 6-0. It's a tough challenge, but you guys will be ready for it Saturday afternoon. And we'll have the broadcast on 96.1 The Game Radio, by the way, if you want to tune in and catch our broadcast and hear those replays that you've been hearing here. Tune in to 96.1 in Grand Rapids about 12:45 on Saturday for the broadcast. Coach, thanks for stopping by. Let's do it again, have more fun, and keep this winning going.
Go Panthers.
All right, that'll wrap it up, the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. We've got just 2 more shows left, believe it or not, here next Wednesday, and then our following week, the final show. We had to move it up to Tuesday because of a conflict somewhere else. So 2 more shows left. So until next time, this is Rick Berkey for Coach Sparky McEwen saying, Go Panthers.